Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the NLBC News, the best news shows that brings you mildly interesting stories and fucks up all the words. Today, we have some very interesting stories. And our first one has to deal with marine biology. So, our first story. Circling the ocean. Multiple types of marine animals are mysteriously circling in the ocean in a curious discovery. The creatures of the ocean are often a mysterious and terrifying breed of creatures, but this does not stop scientists from studying the behaviors of the deep-sea animals for some insane reason. Tomoko Narizaki, an ocean researcher at the University of Tokyo, was studying green turtles in hope of understanding how the turtles can navigate across the ocean. To do this, Narizaki and her team displaced the turtle population from one region of the ocean to another, and tracked their movement with sensors to get a sense of how they reacted to change. For most marine animals, they prefer to travel in straight lines when they can. This reduces the amount of energy they must expend to move, as most sea creatures move by using dorsal fins or a caudal fin to help them move. Caudal meaning tail. What Narizaki and her team did not expect, though, is that the turtles did not just move in straight lines, but started circling in an almost machine-like fashion. When Narizaki and her team analyzed the data, it was clear that it was not random movement, but was planned, methodical movement. With this discovery, Narizaki looked to other movement data recorded from other ocean species and saw that a diverse group of animals, including sharks, seals, penguins, and whales, and of course the turtles, engaged in this unexplained behavior. Narizaki and her team observed many different types of circling behaviors that ranged from a tiger shark attempting to court a female, which was captured by a mounted camera on the shark, to passive spirals seen in resting elephant seals. Narizaki theorizes that some of the behavior was likely linked to foraging activities, as the behavior was observed in known feeding spots. But some animals were swimming in circles outside of their feeding grounds, or during periods of the day or night when the specific species were not known to actively hunt. What Narizaki and her team did not consider, though, is that the answer to this behavior is much more simpler than it seems. Sharks obviously swim in circles to impress the ladies as well as chase their tails, because they're water dogs. Penguins have the zoomies at 3 a.m. and just need to get their energy out. Seals are evil and are trying to make whirlpools to destroy the world. Whales are using the circular motion to blend krill into a smoothie. And turtles are just surfing the currents while looking for their exit buddies. Though I guess the behavior could be for a much more scientific reason, but who knows? And it seems we will have to wait for more information to discern the true depths of these mysteries. Just watch out for the penguins. The zoomies are really zoomy. You know, all the belly sliding and catching fish and everything. Just watch out for them. Alright, moving on to our next story. We move into the universe and its terrifying, expansive cold. Astronomers find a supermassive black hole aimlessly walking through space. Scientists hypothesize it's on its way to the store to get some milk. Black holes are a mysterious phenomenon in our universe and are simultaneously majestic and terrifying. Able to destroy anything it comes in touch with, and having a gravitational pull so strong not even light can escape its depths, black holes are best observed from very, very, very far away. Thankfully, in general, black holes like to stay put as they suck in everything in their way. But scientists have long thought it was possible for them to wander through space. A black hole has never been actively actively seen moving through space. Well, that is until now. Researchers at the Center for Astrophysics, Harvard and Smithsonian, have identified a clear example of a black hole in motion. The black hole is located about 230 million light-years away, about the distance to your local 7-Eleven, at the center of a galaxy simply called J04372456. The lead author of the paper, published in the Astrophysical Journal, Dominic Pes, said in the new release, "We don't expect the majority of supermassive black holes to be moving. They're just so heavy that it's tough to get them moving. Usually, a black hole moves with its galaxy as a galaxy moves through space. And out of 10 galaxies Dominic and their team observed, 9 of them had static supermassive black holes. However, the black hole in J04372456 was on the move. The black hole, which has a mass of 3 million times that of our Sun, about roughly 4.4 to the 33 pounds, also 1,000 quintillion, is equivalent to about the mass of 4.4 to the 22 Toyota Corollas. And it is moving at 110,000 miles per hour, about the speed of a pram inside of a park. Scientists have 2 theories for the wandering black hole, and one of the possibilities is a collision that could have occurred when 2 supermassive black holes collided. The other possible theory is that black holes are part of a pair, and the other black hole is just hidden because of its lack of readable radiation. A scientist has not considered the hidden third option, however. It forgot the milk at the store, and it promised its child it would be right back. He is just going to Space Mart. He'll be right back, little Timmy, I promise. This is just a theory, however, and only time will tell the true reason for this black hole's wandering. However, we hope that it stays in J04372456, as we do not want a visitor, and we don't want to be sucked up and killed, like ants in a vacuum. No, he is definitely coming back. We promise. 100%. It just might take, 264 million light years. So moving on to our next story, we're moving into the gaming sector. Creator of the Silent Hill series teases new horror game project from new studio. Many are familiar with the popular Silent Hill series, and after the cancellation of PT, the playable trailer that was released for a new Silent Hill series, or new Silent Hill game before it was promptly cancelled, there has been a need for a new title among fans. In December, veteran game designer Keiichiro Toyama announced he had left Sony Interactive since they have closed the Japan studio, where he worked creating game series like Siren and Gravity Rush, as well as Silent Hill. Before that, he created Siren and Gravity Rush at Sony Interactive. But before that, however, Toyama was famous for creating Silent Hill at Konami. Toyama has since struck out on his own, forming a new studio named Bokeh Game Studio, with game director Junya Akaro and producer Kozunobu Sato, both who worked on the Siren series, joining him. The developers and designers behind Bokeh have released some teasers recently of their next project, which has been described as a different type of horror game. In a video released in February, Toyama said he had been drawn back to horror, which he had worked so hard on in the Silent Hill and 3 Siren games. However, Toyama wanted to examine the horror genre through a different lens. This lens being everyday life being shaken. Toyama stated when explaining that he wanted to present horror games with an entertainment role I want the players to feel exhilarated. He continues on, rather than showing scary things, it should question our position, Toyama said, make us challenge the fact that we are living peacefully. When asked to further explain the concept he was interested in, he described it as regular people driven into irrational situations, where they're on edge emotionally while dealing with action or drama. As it sounds from Toyama's statements, he is looking to go beyond just creating a scary creature or scenario, like jump scares or just a scary looking thing, into examining what makes these situations scary and focusing on the atmosphere and pushing players into the mindset of situations that are genuinely uncomfortable. If done correctly, it could lead to a very interesting title, but also, if done poorly, it could end up being very contrived and esoteric, or worse, end up not being scary at all. One of the things that is apparent even in today's horror games, there is always the variability of what a player dictates as scary, however. One player might find a situation quite uncomfortable and terrifying, while another player may feel unfazed. Though, this will exist with almost any type of horror, but it will be interesting to see if the designers over at Bokeh Studio might be able to apply a sense of fear and excitement to a larger pool of players with this new take on horror. However, it looks like we will have to wait to see what comes of this title, as it is slated and possibly to be released in 2023. Hopefully the world will still be around by then, and we won't be living in a zombie apocalypse. So moving on to our last story. This one is quite short, but is very important nonetheless. A global chip shortage rages on as it reaches a crisis point. Sellers warn that graphics card prices may rise in response. Semiconductor chips are the brain of every electronic device, and chip manufacturers tend to be high in demand. Before the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, there is already very high demand for semiconductor chips, but now the impact of the pandemic is crippling semiconductor producers. It has been reported by many news outlets that the demand for computer and computer peripherals has increased greatly since the onset of the pandemic, as more and more people are forced to work and spend most of their time at home. Due to this high sudden spike of demand, computers and computer parts have been flying off the shelves at unseen rates. Previously, an analyst at JP Morgan said that semi companies are shipping 10% to 30% below current demand levels, and it will take at least 3 to 4 quarters, about a year, for supply to catch up with the demand, and then another 1 to 2 quarters for inventories at customer distribution channels to replenish back to normal levels. The initial issue started when the pandemic hit and factories had to close temporarily to avoid spreading the virus, causing production of the precious semiconductors to come to almost a complete standstill until the factories opened back up. Many companies beyond graphic card companies have reported huge losses in profits as the semiconductor shortage has affected the smartphone market, the automobile market, and many, many more. Microsoft and Sony have also reported troubles hitting sales targets and consumer demand. Due to this perfect storm of events, anything and everything that uses semiconductor chips is likely to see prices increasing across the board, and it is unsure when or how the crisis will be resolved. So, going forward, you might be careful about pre-ordering something ahead of time, as it is likely to be run out of stock extremely quickly and to not be stocked for a year or more. So make sure to keep that in mind when placing, your PS5 order or a new 3000 series graphic cards. That would be our last story for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of the NLBC News. You can catch us every Saturday, as long as I'm not sick, on my Twitch channel, here, at 11:30 AM PST. Thank you for watching and have a good rest of your day.